Motherfucking Battlefield. Ding. Hey everybody, it's Gladys back here once again, and welcome back to another episode of the Bottlefield. With me, as always, are Cryptic Panther.
Hey everybody.
And doing work.
What up?
So we've got a little bit of beta points to talk about today, some of the more interesting soldier additions to Battlefield 1, and we will also be going over the Conquest point system debate and debacle in spectacular fashion. First, on the Battlefield news list, Panther. Talk to us about the beta.
The beta?
Incorrect.
That
was
the beta.
me.
I meant doing work. I said Panther.
So the beta date's been revealed. Everyone probably knows this by the time you're listening to this, but if you don't and you're under a rock, it's the 31st. Early access has been confirmed to only be 1 day ahead, so that's going to be the 30th for those of us who signed up. That sound right?
Yeah, it is.
Sounds right.
Yes.
So we get the whole day to wait for it to be released, then download the 9 gig download, and then go to bed. You have to play it the next day.
Yes.
That's right.
Just like Battlefield 4.
That's right. So we'll actually start playing on the 31st, and you guys will start playing on the 32nd.
Mark your calendars.
The map for the beta is going to be Sinai?
Cyanide?
There's only one A in there. Sinai Desert. That's what I'm going with. Have they said if it's going to be that in the map from the...
No, it's just the one map.
Just the one map?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. We also have 2 game modes, 64-player Conquest and 24-player Rush. So it'll be familiar.
We do. Okay. So we've also got some premium info. Panther, take us through that.
So everyone's been, wondering, hey, what about premium? There's a lot of questions asked, and now it's been answered. So we're getting Battlefield 1 Premium. It's going to give us, over the life cycle of Premium, I take it, it's 16 new maps, some new game modes, no mention of what they are, how many, new dog tags, 20 new weapons, and more. The first expansion is the French theme that will be released in March, called They Shall Not Pass, or Shall Not Pass. It's an actual term used in big battles that the French had during World War I, so it's a little historic, which is kind of cool.
I think Gandalf said that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said it first, too.
I think World War I happened before Lord of the Rings, originally. Maybe?
Before the Balrog? I don't think
so.
Before
the Battle of the Mines of Moria? I don't know, man.
That was my favorite map.
Right? Yo, can you imagine? That's another episode.
So with premium, it's on the Origin store. Someone showed a clip online. It's $50. But the first release isn't until March. You get lots of time to save up your pennies to purchase premium in March whenever the first DLC rolls around.
I think we would all strongly advise that as well, because for $50, you're not going to get really anything up until March 2017.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's really no reason. I guess. Well, they'll probably give you battle packs out of the gate, but.
Yeah.
Really. I think that's the general feeling on
XP boosts, and they haven't even said if those are going to be a thing. But those are the only things that were really awesome to get in Battlefield 4, to me anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Big XP boosts.
Exactly.
Yeah, XP boost, right? Okay, so that's about all the info we have right now as far as the beta goes, and for premium, obviously within the next couple of days of this recording, the beta will be released, so we'll be putting a lot of time into there, of course. But for the first time ever, this is going to be really exciting to talk about and to see and play. For the first time ever in a Battlefield title, we'll have a few elite player options that will give your team a brand new tactical advantage and give your enemy a reason to piss themselves. So, doing work, tell us about the first of the elite players that they've announced.
Fire! That's a little throwback to Beavis and Butthead. The Flame Trooper. He's wrapped in fire-resistant gear, which in that time frame is probably going to be asbestos. Probably a bad idea. He carries a flamethrower weapon, which brings about pretty much complete chaos. He is immune to incendiary grenades and explosions. Again, fire-resistant gear. But don't kid yourself in thinking that he's indestructible. He has to wear a mask, so he's going to have a really bad field of view. And his reaction time's probably going to be slowed down as a result of that. So nimble players, especially, I'm thinking people with SMGs, and probably snipers are going to have a pretty easy time getting rid of this guy. But it's hard to say, because if you move in close and you miss, I mean, he's got a flamethrower, so
Yeah.
that could end very poorly for you.
And according to some info too, each of these elite classes, they do have grenades and can get in vehicles. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was released. I
It's
watched.
gonna be super dangerous.
Tank on fire. Make the guy inside of it get out.
Yeah,
And burn
the flame trooper. We don't need him driving around a tank. Just to add more destruction when it gets destroyed.
Right. Get back in the tank. Get back in the tank.
All right, so Panther, why don't you tell us about the second of 3 elite players that they've announced?
So the second one up we got is the Sentry. Most people would associate this guy with being the Juggernaut class. He's strapped with thick armor plating, turning him into a human tank. Equipped with a special water-cooled machine gun at his hip, he peppers enemy positions with flying lead while still being able to withstand a hell of a lot of damage. Unlike the Flame Trooper, he doesn't wear a gas mask, and that's one of his major weaknesses in Battlefield 1. Look to exploit his weaknesses quickly before he raffle stomps your entire squad slowly.
Did someone say waffle?
Right. All I think of when I hear that is, you guys watch Archer?
Yes, of course.
Yep.
Suppressing fire!
Yeah, I loved the trailer that was released when they first showed the Sentry, like, full on in the trailer. The sniper shooting him in the head, and he just turns around and like, huh, what was that? That was epic. I love that part in the trailer. But someone stated, I can't remember where I heard it. I don't know if it was a video or read it on a post somewhere, but saying he's heavily armored in the front and not so much in the back. So it's going to be dump gas on him and shoot him in the ass. I would be interested to see what happened if you hit the fucker with a tank.
So,
or drove into him with one of those little armored trucks or whatever. Something to test in the beta.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
Something
We're going to definitely try to roadkill the Sentry.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So we're going to say it now. We're going to coin the phrase that the way that you deal with the Sentry, the most viable combat option is gas and ass.
Gas and ass.
Awesome.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here first. Yeah. Okay, so the last of the 3 elite players that they've announced is called the Tank Hunter. The whiskey's kicking in. So keep a safe distance from this, or no, not you. He's keeping a safe distance. Okay, can I just get a redo on all of this? Fuck me. All right, so keeping a safe distance and using a weapon taller than most men is the Tank Hunter elite class. The weapon in question is the 1918. Oh, fuck me, I don't know how to say this. Panther, hit me with this.
You want me to say it?
I've heard
it. It's a version of a Gawer. I can't remember the proper enunciation for it either. There's lots of other YouTubers out there that can get their tongue around that fucking word. So we'll let them say it, not me.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a Gawer. It's a Gawer. That's all I can tell you. I can't remember the proper enunciation for it.
Okay. So anyways, the 1918 whatchamacallit. It's an absolute killer that lays waste to enemy infantry and vehicles alike. The downside to this class is that the tank hunter must be prone in order to use the whatchamacallit, thus making him easy pickings for flanking attacks from behind or a skilled sniper. That said, the whatchamacallit is such a powerful weapon that it can knock out a vehicle's tracks, machine guns, or the cannons for the armored vehicles. So basically, this is going to be Mr. Bazooka.
Yeah.
But he has to be prone to use it, and that's the interesting part.
Yes.
I'm looking at the wiki for this gun, and it's a 13.2 millimeter caliber for the round. That's stupid big.
Yeah.
The weapon weighs 35 pounds, and it's with the bipod and fully loaded, it weighs 41 pounds. Damn. That's bananas, man. That's like carrying around part of a mod deuce.
Yeah, so this guy's got to be a tank just to carry this shit.
You're right.
So, anyways, mispronunciations aside, yeah, this addition of elite players to the game is going to add a whole new dynamic. And as far as I'm aware, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but these elite players are actually going to be pickups on the map, right?
Yeah, certain flags. I wish I had wrote it down. I know I was watching a video where they were talking about what flags they're picked up at. I can't remember them offhand, but you'll learn about it in the beta like everybody else.
Interesting.
The only downside is you're gonna get people that are gonna be really horny to play as them, so they're gonna be pushing for those certain objectives. So I have a plan for laying trip mines in front of the damn elite pickups and just and leaving the elite pickups there, just leaving trip mines. So someone runs up and eats a fucking trip mine trying to get the elite pickup. I think that's going to be one of my troll tactics. Feel free to feel free to leave a hate comment if you think I'm an asshole. I don't care. that's my tactics. But
shades of Battlefront with the field pickups.
Exactly.
Yep.
So this is interesting to game. I mean, so far they don't seem extremely overpowered. If you don't know if you don't know what each of their weaknesses are, you're gonna have a struggle to probably deal with these elite classes to begin with. But I think after a while, when people learn the ins and outs of dealing with these classes, I think they'll be useful. But I don't think they're going to be major, like, oh my god, the sentry's out there, so everyone just bury their head in the sand.
Players are probably going to respond to these in the same way that you do when a tank comes by. It's going to be, oh shit, there's one of these, and then you and your squad will band together to try to take them down. But
exactly.
I want to know what the tank hunter rifle round does to a plane.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Pony
naughty
Line.
things.
I'm looking at you.
Okay.
You don't have. It's going to take some time to figure out how many hits per round to actually do damage to each vehicle, but hopefully whatever happens in the beta, that stuff's going to come out. You can sort it out and figure it out by launch.
Yeah. What they should have called this class instead of the tank hunter? It should have been the tank sniper, because going prone with this thing, I mean, you're not going to. Hopefully, I would say this class is not going to be used like in the midst of the melee, like. In the middle of all the chaos, you're just going to see this guy laid down with this giant bazooka. It's probably going to be used at range. More like I
would think so.
Like a sniper.
Yeah, for sure.
It's my guess. Okay.
You don't want to lay down. You don't want to lay down prone in front of a tank. You're not going to last too long.
I can't help myself. I always want to lay down prone in front of a tank.
If I lay down, he won't see.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking T-Rex.
I remember in Battlefield 3 we tried to see if we could actually go underneath a tank, like if it could drive over.
Yeah, go in between the treads.
Yeah, never worked.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
It does work in Battlefield 4 if you get in the right spot.
Yeah.
It's rare, but it happens.
I never get the right spot.
That's because the next gen consoles.
Yeah. That's the Levolution right there.
Yeah. Fuck.
That's where it's at.
God, I hate that term so much. Okay, so anyways, we're going to move on now. So we've got the elite players out of the way. We got the beta and premium info out of the way. So we're going to move on to the real meat of this podcast. We're going to address controversy that is currently raging over the internet. So between numerous YouTubers such as Level Cap, Rival X Factor, and a whole slew of Reddit posts, we've compiled a few points arguing for the return of the classic Conquest system. And we are going to pick those points apart and respond to why we disagree. For those of you that don't know, there's been a big hullabaloo, big controversy about the new Conquest system and the changes that DICE has made for Battlefield 1. So some of the points that we're going to talk about, we're going to state our points, or rather, we're going to state certain points first that people have put forward. And then we're going to respond as to why we disagree with those points and why we think that these changes are good for Battlefield as a franchise and why we're looking forward to them in Battlefield 1. So doing work, take us through the first point.
So the first major argument that we hear for going back to the old system is that in the new system, dying doesn't cost anything, which is basically when you spawn in, you do not cost your team a ticket under the new system, as opposed to the old system where every time you spawned in, it cost your team a ticket and sent your team one step closer to defeat. So it's just a little quote from one of the posts here is, if a flag is undefended, great. If it is defended and your whole squad dies, who cares? Everybody respawns and just rush another flag. The basic gist is that people are saying that deaths not costing the team tickets is going to encourage people to play reckless, as if this life that they have spawned into in this particular match right now doesn't matter. And I mean, to me, you're always gonna have people in servers that play with that attitude, but the guys that care about the match that they're in, the guys that want to win, like myself, and I'm sure Gladys and Panther feel the same way. I'm not. Every time I spawn in, that life matters to me. I don't want to die because then I'm not there. I can't drop ammo. I can't res. I can't watch the flank. I can't help cap a point. I have to, and then there's time that's wasted trying to travel back to the point or figure out where I'm going to go next. It's just not, being dead is not helpful. No matter if you're bleeding a ticket or not actually on the field, being dead is just bad.
Yep.
Exactly. And I totally agree with all the points. I don't know if I even have anything to really add. I mean, other than the fact that, every time you die now, okay, it costs a ticket, but more often than not, like through a round of average play, even if you die 10 times, 10 tickets isn't enough out of one, your whole team. I mean, you see people that don't even understand the point system in Battlefield now and spawn in without any regard. So, and having no regard now, at least the players that understand the point system and play to win, at least they're not going to be hampered by Joe Blow, who just wants to spawn in and die as a joke, or C4 suicide 42 times around. So I mean, it definitely gives the people that want to win in public matches a chance to utilize fucking gameplay and not worry about your other 20 some players in your fucking team that don't want to win by caring about dying or not. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't even considered that angle. I can play without disregard. I don't have to watch my spawns anymore because I know that I'm not losing a ticket. I can get back in there and do what I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
it's a good point.
So I mean, like that's a big point. And I mean, also like the people say about just overall saying how it's the old system is really intuitive, and that goes back to my point of saying some players that have probably been playing since Battlefield 3 or new players of Battlefield 4 don't maybe understand the ticket system that well. Maybe they play a lot by themselves, don't have friends to explain it to them. It's intuitive to understand the ticket bleed system if you've played the game and play with people that play objectives and play to win. It's easy for that information to get passed around, but the guys that like to snipe or only fly helicopters and try to constantly air cap and get killed all the time, those guys might not understand that every time they spawn in, they're costing the team the victory.
Yep.
So,
and I also would say a rebuttal to this: the dying costs nothing is, I couldn't disagree more, for two major reasons. Number one, dying costs time, and dying costs support. For number two, time that you could be spent healing, repairing, resupplying ammo, moving to a different objective or moving closer to an objective to take it, time spent in contention of those flags, supporting your team by killing the enemy and healing and all that stuff. So the time spent, taking an objective, working as a team, supporting your team, all those things you can't do if you're dead. Right. So this guy saying that death, the only downside to death, before was, bleeding a ticket. It's not true. You're not looking at the big picture. When you say dying costs nothing, I don't know what gamer he's talking about. Because like Work said in his initial response, being dead is not good in any way. You can't do anything. You can't help your team. You can't get more points for yourself if that's what you're going for. You can't support your teammates. You can't get flags. You can't contribute to a win if you're dead. So dying costs you the opportunity to do all those things.
Exactly.
It's a very narrow-minded.
Yes. Very.
So point number two is the sentiment that there is now, with the increased scores, too much rewards for getting just one flag. And Level Cap broke this down in his recent video about, a certain number of points that you could possibly get. Like if you and Work, you, to paraphrase you earlier when we were talking before we were recording, if you check every single possible box that you can of a hypothetical scenario to take a flag, you can get X amount of points. Well, that's true, but it doesn't always line up that way.
Right.
So the quote from a post that we pulled about too much reward for getting one flag is, "The incentive is always to go on offense, always try to capture another flag, never to defend what you've got." And again, I could disagree wholeheartedly. While offense is obviously a crucial part of any FPS, and Battlefield in particular, which is more strategic than other ones, defending is also extremely valuable and extremely smart based on the situation. So this guy is saying that now that the points have been increased, that people are literally only going to care about, they're going to take the narrow view of only trying to take flags and never to defend what they've got. And I disagree from experience. I disagree on general principle. And I disagree completely based on the people that I also play with. And I know that I can speak for them and say that defense is absolutely a viable option. If we've got 3 flags out of a total of 5 and it's a close game and we're getting down to the end of it, it's smarter for us to hold back in a defensible position where we have numerical superiority, as opposed to the enemy, trying to rush whatever flags they can get to try to get that clutch last minute win. It's smarter for us to stay put, get entrenched, to use the World War I term, and defend what we've got. It's smarter for us to do that. It's more tactical, it's more strategic, and that's how you win games. So to say that never defending is now, like, nobody's ever going to defend anymore is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I would say absolutely that the point system needs to be tweaked a little more in favor of defense. I think we need to get more in the way of defense points. But that's a little, kind of off topic and off the book, as opposed to just responding to what this quote is now. But either way, I mean, to say it's going to be 100% offense and 0% defense now is insane. There's just no way.
That's a bit ridiculous. I was thinking about that, and I didn't mention earlier, but if they made kills in the defense of a flag that you already own worth more than a standard kill, maybe by another 50 points, whatever it is, but to give that, I think that would go a long way towards giving people the incentive to defend versus.
I don't
know. I feel like it kind of negates this dude's argument or nullifies it, and to some degree, maybe not all the way. But
like I said, I've said this before, and I've been quoted. You quote me multiple conversations we've had where the point system does seem a little excessive on one side. I mean, I haven't played the game. None of us have actually played to see what the defensive points are. We can only go by, posts and go by like some YouTubers that have played the game and posted videos. And like where level cap says the maximum point is like 1,350. But that's if, you cap and you reverse from, enemy owned and it's been spotted by your squad leader. Like, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen where someone's going to score that many points. But the point system needs some reworking. I'm not going to argue that point. But the point is of how he says it's never defend. Right now, most of us, when we're playing the game and we own 3 flags, sometimes we'll push for 4. Sometimes we'll even try to push for domination of the whole fucking map. And that's fine. But as soon as you're, running around in a tank, or if you're on a jet ski or a fucking boat or whatever, and you see one of your flags being taken, what's your first instinct? Is go back and defend that flag.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the mentality of people now, then that's not going to change. If opponent's playing this game and they go, oh, I get all the points, well, they shouldn't be playing this fucking game. That's not the point of the game. It's to win by conquesting the other team. It's not, oh, I scored more points than player 2, but we still lost. Well, who gives a fuck? You lost.
Well, and I'll even, I'll respond a little bit to the contrary with that, to say, it's points, and that's not how you should play the game. I'll even, to an extent, disagree with that and say that there's going to be a good portion of the player base that does only play for points.
Oh, there's going to be. There is now.
Yeah, there is now, and there always will be.
They're called
YouTubers. And that's fine, but here is the crucial part of it for me, is that the developer has designed this game specifically to be different than the past Battlefields, in that there is more incentive to capture those flags. There is more importance put on the actual capture points in Conquest. So whether you're playing for points, or whether you're playing for kills, or you don't care how it happens, you just want to win, any one of those 3 scenarios, if you're going for a win or kills or points, you are going to want to be on those objectives.
Exactly.
There is no argument that says that this does not promote objective-based play.
That's right. unless we get into the beta and this is all somehow magically proven and we all somehow magically are wrong.
Well,
I'll come
I'm going to
back
have a
and
lot more drinks on the next podcast.
yeah, because we're going to be drowning our sorrows. But I mean, it's like I just think so many people are making opinions, and I'm not saying that the person that made these points didn't get some of his information from Level Cap or X Factor or some other YouTubers, or he hasn't played the alpha himself and feels these points. But all these points are being made by multiple people, and I'm going to go in on a limb and say some of these people haven't played the alpha, and like I said, none of them has played the beta. So they're basing this on information that's on an old build, an old style of play, or sorry, they're so used to the old style of play, they're scared of the new style. They don't want change. Change is good, people. Change is good. Embrace it.
Well, as long as it's a good change.
Well, this is a good change.
All right, so Panther, take us into point number 3.
All right, so his point is no roles for planes, artilleries, or defenders. So he says, although you can still indirectly affect the battle using your plane, it is too indirect under the new system. It's frankly impossible to keep up with the constant Zerg rushing, especially when they know there's no cost to their wasteful tactics. So he deems that people rushing into flags, just rushing in, don't care if they're going to get killed or not. This kind of falls back a bit to the no dying first point. So he says planes, artillery, or people defending. So in other words, he's thinking the whole team is just going to run into a flag blindly, looking at the fucking ground, counting the shoelaces, making sure they're tied, checking their text on their phone, and just run in to cap a flag. These flags are going to be contended and defended. That's the way it's going to be. It's the way it is now. It's the way it's going to keep going. That's not going to change. Okay, so someone controlling the air with a plane maybe is not going to rack up as many kills. I mean, most of the people get massive amount of kills in the air in helicopters, which aren't in Battlefield 1. So we don't get that's off the plate. Planes are designed in this game, from what I've watched from gameplay, is they're map control. They're designed for taking out the behemoths, which is so far as we've seen the airship and the train. And if you watched any of the gameplay video from Gamescom where they played in the Sinai Desert, Pony Lion wrecked that fucking train. I mean, that's what his job was. He wrecked that fucking train. Every time he was on the winning team and that train spawned in, he attacked it and blew it all to fuck. And that thing can cap on 2 flags. So yes, the planes makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. They control the map by destroying armor that's pushing on a flag, and they help defend your flag by killing armor that's trying to push on a flag that you already own. So planes are valuable. I don't know why they're not. Just because you're not going to be at the top leaderboard by getting the most kills in the plane because you're not capping flags doesn't make them have no role. Same goes for artillery and defenders. I mean, yes, okay, the defend points are been in question because we don't know how many you get for defending. It seems very little. You still need to defend flags to win. People are still going to defend a point. And as for artillery, I'm thinking he's meaning the anti-air guns and the other artillery cannons that can be fired at tanks and infantry. You still need to kill people to advance or kill people to defend. So I don't know why he's so animate by saying none of these 3 in particular have any roles. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if he was high when he wrote this, but like
I think his mind was closed and narrow.
Yeah, I mean,
as it is for most of these points.
If he wants to say that there's going to be no leaders on the leaderboard at the end of the round that flew a plane all the time, well, that's going to happen. But anyone who flies a plane now is not the top of the leaderboard either, very rarely. Helicopters, yes.
Yeah.
Planes, no. They own a role.
You don't get in vehicles to top the leaderboard. I use vehicles for a very simple purpose. I get into a tank. My goal is to cause general chaos and disrupt the enemy's team and therefore their ability to cohesively attack or defend an objective. Like if they have a squad, I want to fuck that squad up so that they can't do what they wanted to do. Now they have to stop and deal with me. And that gives my teammates more time to do their stuff.
See, I lead the...
And that's basically it. Like no matter the point systems, that's pretty much what vehicles are for.
Yeah. And I mean, vehicles are greatly used to cap and defend flags. That's the point of them. So you need something to counteract that, which is your planes, your artillery, and your defenders, and or your attackers. So I don't know, the dude's just high.
It also, and this guy with this particular quote is completely disregarding how the Battlefield franchise has been set up from the beginning. It's always been about a rock paper scissors type of gameplay, to where like if his point right here is that the game is not worse off without planes, artillery, or people defending. The number one, that's as silly and stupid as an idea as you could possibly say, I think. But it's like, you have to also understand that if you're talking about there's no role for planes, okay, so if you didn't have planes, or in past Battlefield games we could see the jets or the choppers or whatever, how many times on the ground have we been stopped by taking an objective from a chopper coming in, either an attack chopper, a little bird, or whatever?
Lots of times.
Or how many times,
Oh, yeah.
in a tank have we been locked on by missiles from the jets, whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of disruption that planes can make. As far as artillery goes,
Absolutely.
that's going to be artillery is going to be bigger than ever in Battlefield 1 than it's ever been in the Battlefield franchise, because artillery now is an integral part of taking out tanks or any other type of armor, or even at some point infantry. There's more of a basis on it because it's less technologically advanced now. You don't have 8 different types of RPGs or lock-on weapons or anything like that. You've got a couple really big cannons and then the stuff that you run around with.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
artillery is one of the few options left, because when going back in the timeline of warfare and going back in the technological advances that we have, we limit the amount of options that we have, and artillery is now much more important because it's one of the few options that we have left to deal with those threats.
Yeah, I mean, it was king of the battlefield for decades.
But I think
in real
I think
life.
the reason he's saying artillery is the same point, because you use artillery to kill infantry or tanks. There's no reason to kill anybody because dying doesn't make a difference. Well, I'm gonna tell you, pal, if you want to play Battlefield 1 and not fucking kill anybody, you're gonna fucking die a lot. You're not gonna get any fucking points because you're gonna be dead waiting 12 to 15 seconds to respawn, and your team ain't gonna want to play with you because you're gonna be at the fucking spawn screen. What a way to spend $60 on a game. I'm just gonna sit in the spawn screen, respawn, run to a flag.
These menus are beautiful.
Yeah. I love these menus on Zip's pants.
Yeah, and to say for the last part of it that there's no role for defenders, again, that's just ridiculous. If the objective is to win the game by capturing and holding points, holding being the operative word that I'm going to highlight here, you need to defend them. And as Panther said earlier, if you're coming from an objective, or if you're en route to another objective and you see one of your bases popping up that it's being contested or taken, then the instinct for him and myself and several other people that we play with, and I'm sure a good portion of the community, is to turn back and clear that objective so it stays in our possession, so our points keep going up, so we keep hurting the enemy on the scoreboard in order to get that win.
Yeah, and even if you're taking the scoreboard out of the equation, I don't want to leave Bravo and take Charlie, and now I have to defend Charlie from Bravo and from Delta. I've got enemies on 2 sides of me. I want to clear them out from behind and move forward. I mean, even score be damned, it just makes sense.
It's tactical gameplay, and if you can't wrap your head around tactical gameplay, then what are you doing now in Battlefield? How do you play the game now?
Yeah.
So it's the point system they're so just wound up in this point system, and I think they're crazy. Play the game like you're playing it now. There's no change. The points okay. The points count up from 0. You still gotta get the most points to win. So all it is they're reversing the way the points go from 0 to 200 instead of from 200 to 0.
Yeah, and the thing is also is that everybody is focusing an extreme amount on the point system right now, but they're not focusing on, I think, the right aspect of this change, and that's the focus of the gameplay.
Exactly.
Right.
The gameplay is now being driven and being rewarded and incentivized to drive objective-based gameplay, which is literally what this game mode is for.
Exactly.
Now, if they put in, flags onto Team Deathmatch, it wouldn't make any sense. If they, I can't think of another example off the top of my head right now, but like if they took something from another game mode and made that more important than the original role of the game mode, it wouldn't make sense. The whole purpose of this game mode is to capture and hold flags.
More flags in your
So how do you, as a developer, promote that gameplay? If that's your goal, is to get people to play for flags, how do you promote that? You reward them. You incentivize it. You give them points. That's the whole fucking
and if,
thing.
These dudes want an objective-based game mode where kills are king, they have it. Go play Rush, guys. That's what it's about.
Team Deathmatch. If you want to just worry about
TDM
kills.
or like I said, rush. If you want an objective,
or domination,
quote unquote,
or
to
whatever.
focus on.
Yeah.
Almost any other game mode, you're rewarded more for kills than other things.
Leave Conquest alone.
I don't understand, like I said, why everyone's panties are in a knot over this. When I jump into the Battlefield game, I mean the beta, I'm gonna fuck around. I mean, I'm not gonna be worried about KD, win loss. It's a beta. All my stats are gonna be wiped anyways. And even Witzky's a friend of ours, and you've seen his footage on our first revamped Bottlefield podcast because he got into the alpha, the lucky bastard. He said, like, it was hard to really tell because, most people were fucking around, trying different guns. And the beta is going to be similar. I mean, I'm going to be trying to launch a horse. I'm going to try to, run over a sentry with a fucking tank. I'm going to, try to, use a tank sniper, and I'm going to try to fucking snipe someone across the map. I'm going to be doing stupid fucking shit because there's no reason not to. But when it comes to game launch, man, when I jump into the game, I'm going to be playing Battlefield like I play Battlefield. I only play it to fucking win.
That's right.
Plain and simple.
So let's move on from this one.
We moving on?
Yep. Work, take us to point number 4.
Behemoths. So under the new system, this is the quote. Everyone pretty much knows what behemoths are. We've all seen the footage, the big zeppelins, etc., etc. Under the new system, their effect is too indirect to help the team. In fact, beta testers have observed the behemoths hurt their own team because you're better off with extra boots on the ground. Now that's the quote that we pulled from the point, and in similar fashion, I'm going to disagree with that. And it's just like I said earlier, talking about vehicles in the previous point we were talking about. It's another tool. Gladys used that term in our pre-podcast discussion quite a bit, but it's what it is. It's a tool. It's another tool to disrupt, to cause chaos, to cause the enemy team to have to refocus their attention, to divert their plan from what it was to what we have to deal with in front of us now, or above us in a behemoth's case. And if you choose to use that tool in a manner that is befitting to help your team, then I say it's not gonna hurt your team. I'm saying that those boots in that zeppelin could actually be very beneficial if it's used properly.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if it's used properly. I mean, and like I said, in the alpha, I mean, people were probably just excited to get in the fucking thing and see what they could do with it.
Mm-hmm. It'll be just like it was with the gunship in Battlefield 4 when they introduced it. Everybody's camping around the building trying to get into it, but after it had been out for a while, people were doing some damage in the damn thing.
That's right. And I mean, they only saw, like I said earlier too, we've only seen so far seen the airship and the tank, or the train. Sorry, the thing saying it's not, a viable option. It can hurt your team. It can if not used right. Like I said, it's the point's been made. It's a fucking tool to be used. Same as anything else. You put the hammer in the hand of a fucking infant, they're gonna break something. You put the hammer in the hand of a carpenter, he's gonna build something.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Put the tool in the right hand of the right person, something's good gonna come out of it.
And another point I'll make on that is chances are if you've got, say the behemoth holds a squad, and that squad is up there shooting each other in the balls, were they really helping you that much on the ground if they're the kind of players who don't try to use a tool like that effectively? What are they doing for you if their boots are on the ground?
Exactly.
Are they sitting on a mountain ridge trying to get 1,000-meter headshots, or are they out there capping flags?
Right.
Generally, if I see a retard driving a Jeep or a retard flying a helicopter, he's usually a retard when I run into him on foot.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
And with the train can cap 2 points. So the train, in all, not counting the airship, the train can actually be pulled into a point you don't know. You're the losing team. I'm guessing the losing team is not going to be owning those 2 flags. Hopefully not, because the train then wouldn't have much use other than defending. It's not going to help you cap. Right. It'll help you defend. But that's the point. And this falls back to the whole point of the plane. Well, if I'm the losing team and those 2 flags the train could take, I can drive the tank I keep saying tank when it's a train. God, if I could ride the train into those points and take them back, and no one's in the air with a plane to bombard me, or no one's, using any artillery that may be around to help disrupt me from killing enemies, I'm going to take those 2 flags pretty much uncontested. Away I go. Mm-hmm. There's the point of the behemoth. The airship, if I could fly it over Alpha flag and you guys own it and I don't, and I pummel the fucking piss out of it, my team can walk in uncontested and take the flag. There's a reason the behemoth is the airship. So there's your points debunked.
Yeah, pretty
Myth busted.
much.
Myth busted.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that one. I mean, you guys basically covered it.
Shout out to
Like
Adam
we said,
Savage.
it's over and over. We'll say it because it's true. It's a tool to be used, and if it's utilized correctly, then you disrupt the enemy, you support your own team, and you cause chaos out there, which will direct their attention towards you instead of shooting at your guys on the ground.
There you go.
I mean, it's if it's not used properly, then yes, it will hurt the team. But it's going to hurt the team in the same way that somebody on the ground not playing effectively is going to hurt your team. It's the same. I don't think that hurts any more than one guy of the squad, trying to see how far the map goes and running to the end of it.
Yeah, if anything, it hurts your team less because now you've got an effective person using a tool ineffectively. At least if that dude's off sucking his own thumb and sniffing glue in the corner, somebody worth a damn can be in the plane, helping your team.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
No. I'm gonna get a server and it'd be the one of the rules is no glue sniffers.
No glue sniffers, right?
Well, I'm out.
Shit. Oh well. Except Gladys.
All right, so
only admins can sniff glue.
We'll move on to the next point then. So this is the idea that because flags have been let me just read the quote before I even try to explain it. Okay, so this is the quote right here. As we've seen, the incentive for getting one more flag is unbalanced. The rewards are so great that you're always better off sending your troops in search of an undefended flag, or because dying costs nothing, you may as well roll the dice and see if you can get lucky and capture a defended flag. Everyone will realize this, which means they defend flags less. So actually, reading this actually flows into our next point as well, Panther. But I again, as now we've seen with every point, I can't agree with any part of this. I don't think that the incentive to capture a flag is unbalanced. Especially if all the flags give the same amount of points, then it's the same amount of incentive to capture those things. If Charlie flag gave you 1,000 points, but Bravo only gave you 300, that would be unbalanced.
Right.
That would be an unfair incentive in order to have everybody focus on one thing. That would be a game-breaking error in design. To say that all these other points only cost or only rewarded 200 to 300 points, but Charlie Point gives you 10,000 or whatever number you want to think up. That would be unbalanced incentives. That would be game-breaking gameplay. But that's not the case. They're all the same. So the incentive for getting any flag is the same as getting one flag.
And the incentive to get one more flag is always there because you need to control more flags to gain more tickets to win the round.
Yeah, to speed up the amount that you're getting of tickets per minute or however quick that is. The more flags you have, the more tickets you have.
And smart teams are going to cap flags until they have the ticket advantage, and then they're going to stop and defend their positions.
Yeah. There's going to be some players that don't fall into that role, but any smart players.
No matter how the scoring is, you're always going to have people that kind of do their own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the nature of the beast.
So the second part of this is that rewards are so great that you're always better off sending your troops in search of an undefended flag. For anyone that's played at the very least, the last couple Battlefield entries, I would say there's almost no such thing as an undefended flag. Rarely ever can you just come up to a flag and not have anybody be there, or as you're taking it, not have anybody spawn in or drive up or something. There's almost never an undefended flag. It really doesn't happen that often.
Well, and that goes back to our point number 2, where it's too much reward for getting one flag, where we're talking about if you're leaving a flag and you see one of, or if you're going across the map and you see one of your flags being taken, most of us are going to instinctively go defend that flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That rolls right back into that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's all pretty much tied together in a rubber band ball of bullshit. This guy just is incoherent and I would have to say misinformed about nearly all of the gameplay elements that he's trying to critique. So the third point here, right in the middle of this quote, is because dying costs nothing, you may as well roll the dice to see if you can get lucky and capture a defended flag. Who the fuck plays this game? And especially who plays this game with friends, like as a squad, and says, hey guys, what do you want to do? We just captured a flag. Oh, I don't know. Let's see if we get lucky and go to a defended flag. It doesn't work like that. From one flag, if you capture it and the area is clear and there's no enemies about, as a squad, you roll to probably, I would say, either the closest flag, or if there's two that are equal distance and one of them gives you a bigger advantage, like having some artillery that's
Right.
over there, or there's a pickup there or something, then you're going to choose that
Or
one.
it's high ground, etc.
When do you ever roll the dice on picking an objective to go to? I don't know. Fuck it, we'll go to this one. I mean, not really often. You go to whatever's closest to you, or whatever is being contested. If there's two flags at equal distances away from you, and one's being contested and one's not, you pick the contested one to go to defend it.
Right. If both flags are empty and there's no really advantage, that's when you kind of say, well, let's go A or B or B or C or whatever. But it's more often not there is a reason to go to a flag. Well, let's get this one so we get the BTR or the helicopter or like Word said, higher ground. There's always usually a reason to go one flag or another. It's more strategic. It's a better route. It's whatever. You're not just roll the dice and try to get lucky to go cap a flag. No. It's undefended.
Well, by that quote right there, he's making the immediate and unfactual assumption that most players are not playing this game strategically.
Right.
The assumption that we're going to roll the dice to see where we want to go means that we are not factoring in where the enemy is, what flags we own, where we are on the ticket count, what different factors each flag has, the distance between the flag. I mean, to disregard everything and just roll the dice like that, you're saying that these players are playing Battlefield with their eyes closed. It's not the case.
So the way that a lot of people on, I mean, I'm not going to directly quote Level Cap because I don't have a direct quote in front of me from his video saying about how the new point system's broken, etc., etc. And this folly here going on about the point system is, do they think players are just going to start on one side of the flag, one side of the map, run over to this flag, run to this flag, and just run in a fucking like a circle the whole time and just run into a flag? There's going to be no one there. They're just going to run around in a fucking circle for 30 minutes until one team magically scores more fucking points? No, you're fucking high as shit. Fuck. I mean, the people going to fucking run around and not fucking ever shoot somebody? No, every time you go to a flag, more often than not, there's going to be someone to fight. I mean, yes, okay, you're going to roll into the odd flag where there's going to be no one there because everyone just left to go fight to get out of their flag. It happens now, but usually not too often. You have it can drive away or run away and not have someone either come in behind you that sees you're taking the flag and wanting to come and kill you, or wanting to come take it back. So I don't understand like why they think it's just going to be a big fucking circle jerk running around the fucking map for 30 minutes.
I don't know, and I would say that if they stop for a minute and think, again, this game is now being designed differently than other Battlefields, and there's more incentive on the objectives and taking the objectives, that the idea of an uncontested flag is going to disappear even more than it already does, just naturally, just organically, because everyone is going to want as many flags for their team as possible.
Because now you can't rely on those 3 or 4 really top elite players to murder the motherfuckers like shit in a helicopter, or it's like 2 or 3 like me and Whiskey the other night. We were fucking running shop in armor. I mean, we controlled 2 flags in armor for like a whole fucking map on Rogue Transmission, Operation Satellite Dish. I mean, yes, those effective players are still going to be needed, but just because one guy can kill 55 people in the helicopter and I can kill 25 people in a tank, it doesn't mean that that's no longer going to be a valid point. You still need to kill those people to own those flags. I don't understand why that thought leaves everyone's head when it's not a ticket bleed. I never think of killing people as a ticket bleed. I always focus on flags. I don't say okay, we got Pony Line on our team, let's let them fly around the helicopter for 30 minutes and kill 225 people, so we got a 225 ticket lead. No, that's not the brain. That's your gameplay thought. Then you shouldn't be playing this fucking game. In my opinion, that's not the way you play. That's not how I've ever played. I've never played for bleeding tickets by kills. It's bleeding my ticket by owning flags.
No.
So this kind of this topic's been beat to death. I mean, they've tried to use their points to beat it to death, but I think and it's not just us. I mean, there's other people out there that feel the same way that we do.
Well, and the thing is too is now that everybody's been able to chime in on this thing. This has been the explosion of conversation, and it's been incredibly controversial. Between YouTube and Reddit and all the different subreddits that Battlefield has. And, it's all over the place. It's dominating the talk right now.
Exactly.
And I feel like these points, if you take them, piece by piece, as we're doing now, or others have when they respond to these points, that you just can't argue with the logic. The gameplay is being incentivized for objective play, which is what this game mode is for. And any argument that says that focusing on the objectives is detrimental to the Conquest game mode is just wrong.
Exactly.
There's no two ways about it for me.
And I'll tell you right now, you can score more points in Battlefield 4 by capping flags than you can by killing people.
Yeah, and it's going to be even greater of a divide between people that get a massive amount of kills but no flags. They're no longer going to be top of the scoreboard. Exactly. It's going to be an even bigger divide between those now. The people that play the objective, that PTFO all the time, those are going to be the top of the leaderboards, and that's how it should be in this game mode, because that's what it's about.
And still, I mean, if a guy wants to go 55-2, that's awesome. Hey, cool. Like, I'd rather have you on my team than someone else. That means that's 55 people I didn't have to fucking kill to cap my 15 flags or whatever I did. If you're so worried about being at the top of the scoreboard by getting kills, team deathmatch is where you should be.
Exactly. I mean, yes. I don't think any of us would ever argue to having somebody on our team that, will get 50 or 60, 70 kills. However, whatever ludicrous number you want to think of, if they get a massive amount of kills, that's great. And you know what? I hope your girlfriend loves stroking your KD. But the win is going to come from those objectives.
Yeah, I'd rather go fucking, I'm sadly I've probably gone 9-20 and win the fucking game than go 20-9 and lose the game. Or 50-1 or whatever spread of KD you want. KD's nice, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'd be happier to have a positive KD, but if my KD was under 1 and I had, a win-loss of, 100 wins versus 5 losses, I'll take the 100 wins over a KD any day.
Yep.
I mean, we joke about it. I mean, it's been a joke. I mean, we make fun of Gladys sometimes about, oh, my KD when he gets shot. But, I mean, yes, your KD's still a number. Your KD, people are still worried about KD, are still not going to want to die in Battlefield 1.
Yeah, I mean, the KD, like, for me in particular, how I view it is it's something that I do take pride for. I enjoy playing well, and I enjoy the competition and being able to play better than my enemy. So the KD is a pride point for me, for sure, absolutely, and I take satisfaction in that. But it's not my reason for playing the game. It's not, the reason that we all get on and squad up together and join a Conquest game. It's not how many kills can I get in this Conquest game. No, we're playing together to play for the win. And we do that by playing strategically, by taking the objectives, denying our enemy the objectives, and trying to dominate. And if at the end of the game, if we lose and I do have a great KD, I still feel dissatisfied. I'm still not happy because we got the loss.
Like I said, there's nothing wrong with having a positive KD. I mean, you could have a 4.0 KD. Good for you. But if your win-losses is like I have 5 wins and 200 losses, well, fuck, why? If you're only playing for KD, play TDM.
Yeah.
Like, don't run into a Conquest game or going, oh, I got 55 kills, but the guy over there got 6 kills, but he's on top of the leaderboard. Right, because if that's me, say I fucking worked my ass off and I fought for flags for the 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever. And
because that person fulfilled the objective of the game mode. That's why. Right. And they were rewarded for that.
Exactly.
That's why they're top of the leaderboard.
There you go.
All right. Move on to point number 6. Panther, take it away.
Well, but the new scoring system incentivizes. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Jesus, English. Rushing flags. In other words, the only incentive that people have is just to rush into a flag. So he says the new scoring system massively rewards people for capping flags, which it should. Rather than defending the ones you've gotten, if you waltz onto an undefended flag and cap it, you can get something like 10 times as many points as you would for killing someone. So that's his big argument. I mean, we've talked about it repeatedly through the last argument, and we'll carry it on just a little bit more here. The new scoring system massively rewards people for capturing flags, and it should. maybe not to the excessive points that you're getting now. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about how much points you should get for capping. There should be some more incentive for defending, maybe. That's to be discussed maybe after we play the beta and see the big split in the scoring for defending. I want to, firsthand it. But while it's onto an undefended flag and capture, you can get something like 10 times as many points. Well, in Battlefield 4, you can also get, not 10 times, but you can get a great deal more points by capping a flag than you can by killing somebody. So it just happens to be more. I don't think it's 10 times more. It could be. Could be 10 times.
Well, I think when level cap broke it down, I think the total amount was over 10 times as many.
Yeah, it's okay. So if you want to don't cap flags, then you better kill a lot more fucking people if you want to run the leaderboard. So for every time I cap a flag, you better kill 50 people then. But it's, I don't know. They're saying
you have to ask yourself, what's the point of this game mode?
Exactly. But they're saying there's no point in killing anybody. There is a point in killing somebody. So the point of killing somebody is to keep them from taking your fucking flag, or to allow you to take their flag. If you don't think there's a reason for killing somebody in this game, I don't understand how you can think there's no point in killing somebody.
So because you're doing it wrong.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
These points all seem to be written by someone who prioritizes being at the top of the leaderboard over winning
level cap.
Well, being at top of the leaderboard by kills.
Yeah.
Is the caveat I would add to that.
That's the way I feel too. It's they seem to be so worried about, hey, I got 50 kills, but I'm not in the top leaderboard. No one knows how many people I killed in this game. Oh, fuck you. Go play TDM. How many times am I gonna tell you? I'm gonna make a new fucking PlayStation name. You hate Conquest, play TDM. That's gonna be my new fucking PlayStation.
Nah, keep it short and sweet. Just go play TDM.
Yeah, go play TDM.
Yeah.
Fuck. But I mean, like, I understand like how people are divided at the point scoring. Like I said many times, and I'll probably say it many times again. Maybe the point system needs to be reworked and reward some more points on a scale a little different. But still, don't fucking cry about the ticket bleed. That to me is not the major point.
No.
So.
And the thing, you know what, that I don't think a lot of people have brought up, but if you want to take the idea of a new Battlefield player, somebody brand new to the franchise that, has just now, hit their teens, or maybe, they didn't really care for the Modern Warfare type stuff, but they see a commercial for a Battlefield 1, they say, oh man, that looks awesome. For new people to the franchise, for new people to first-person shooters or whatever, they get in this game and they're going to play Conquest because that's the mode that's usually advertised. 64 players, vehicles, destruction going on, all this stuff. Conquest is the flagship game mode of the Battlefield franchise. So, with that being advertised, you get a new player that hops into their very first Conquest game. And, they start killing people, they get killed, whatever. They see that you get 100 points for killing somebody, or 120, I think, plus bonuses or whatever. But then all of a sudden they get an objective capture, and bam, they're rewarded with all these points, and it's like fucking Christmas on their scorecard. And they're like, holy shit, okay, I figured it out. This is what I need to do. That's exactly the type of thing that you want to happen. They're going to say that I'm getting rewarded. I get a massive amount of points for capturing these objectives. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. So all of a sudden, you've just made a strategic player. You've just made somebody whose goal now is to capture those objectives. And how are they going to do that? By any means necessary, obviously, but they're going to do that by getting in there and playing the objective the whole time. They're not going to hang back and, be scared to rush in, because they're worried necessarily. They're also just not going to rush in, I hope, gung-ho and just look up to the sky and go for an objective, either. But obviously you need to stay alive to take it. So your life does matter, which goes back to, the point one again, the death means nothing. Again, the opportunity to do any number of things, but number one, first and foremost in Conquest, is to capture the objective.
Because you're not going to get those 1,300 points if you're a dead motherfucker.
Yeah. So to the new era of Battlefield players, for the new generation, they're going to come in here And without the preconception of what Conquest is or they think should be, they're going to realize that they're rewarded for taking an objective much, much heavier than they are for lone wolf gameplay. And that
Exactly.
is fantastic for our franchise, boys.
Absolutely.
That is wonderful.
Absolutely.
I kind of just stole your topic from you, Panther. I apologize.
No,
I went
no.
off on a rant there. I just had it going.
We've kind of run over a little bit of each one, and I don't worry about it. I mean, like I said, you got a point, make it. That's the whole point of it. And like you said, new players. I mean, you got to remember too, it's not just young kids or someone just getting about. You're talking about like there's older people to play this game. Like, hey, maybe some dude just retired. What's he gonna do? Builds himself a PC or buys a PS4. He's gonna fucking jump on and play fucking Battlefield. The incentive to cap flags to win the game. It makes perfect sense. It's so simple, and I don't understand why these people say, "Oh, the other way was it's easier." No, it wasn't. It's still the same point. It's still a game. It's still the same game. Cap flags to fucking win, because ticket bleed in some points, in very few cases, was probably the reason why the game was won. It's I mean, I played a game of fucking Metro, and we were I don't know what, can't remember which country spawns in the basement, but whatever country that is, against the Russians, I think. We were pushed back into the fucking basement pretty fast, and we fought tooth and nail, and we were down over 200 fucking points, and we pushed the bastards back in and took all 3 flags. We couldn't have sat downstairs and killed that many fucking people to win the game without capping the flags. So even in Battlefield 4, the incentive not to die is there. The incentive of Battlefield 1 is not to die, because if you're dead, you can't do anything. The same in Battlefield 4. And if you're killing people, you're not going to kill enough people when you're down 200 tickets to make a comeback. And that kind of runs into
cap flags.
Yeah, that kind of runs into your next point though as well.
Yes. So our last point, number 7 here, is about underdogs. So the quote that we have here is, under the old system, the underdog could seize the majority and completely shift the momentum of the game and make a comeback. Under the new system, this is much more difficult, because even if the underdog gets the majority, the other team's tickets are still steadily ticking up towards 200 or whatever the victory condition is. No more underdog stories of turtling up in good defense with your medics keeping you from losing tickets. If you get too far behind, it's basically impossible to catch up. So, I'll take this piece by piece here and spell it out for you. It says, under the old system, the underdog could seize the majority and completely shift the momentum of the game and make a comeback. Still 100% absolutely possible, and it's the objective if you're losing in Battlefield 1. Obviously, you want to take the fucking flags. It doesn't get simpler than that. If you're losing, if you're behind on the scoreboard, what do you worry about? Capping flags.
Right.
What the fuck else would you be doing? He says, under the new system, this is much more difficult, because even if the underdog gets the majority, the other team's tickets are still steadily ticking upward towards the victory condition. And yes, that's true, but that's still the case under the old system with the ticket bleed. Except we're going down, not up. And you're going down towards 0 and a loss. So I don't think that it's any more difficult in Battlefield 1, at least without having my hands on it yet. The idea of it doesn't seem more difficult. You hold more flags to win. Yes, there's still tickets, for the enemy that are going up because they own some flags, but that's more incentive to take those flags from them. I mean,
to keep the ones that you do have
still
already.
It's still the same gameplay mechanic. It's still the same motivations for taking those flags. You want to control the maximum number of flags that you possibly can in order to win. It's the same mechanic. It has not changed from Battlefield games. The more flags you win, the greater your chance of winning. Whether you're an underdog or your team has been dominating the whole time, your victory objective is still hold as many flags as possible. It hasn't changed. Not at all. So the last point is no more underdog stories of turtling up in good defense with your medics keeping you from losing tickets. Right here, this motherfucker shows his true colors. Medics keeping you from losing tickets. Because there's a ticket bleed. He's talking about the old system. That doesn't happen anymore in Battlefield 1 with the system that they've set in place. Medics are not going to keep you from losing tickets anymore because you don't lose tickets from dying. which is an improvement.
Exactly.
Because how many games have we all had where we said, don't spawn, and then it's up to one person to take out 2 squads of people, or take back 3 objectives, or get us back from 100 tickets. Your team minimizes, in the old way, in the old Conquest system, your team minimizes your chance of victory simply by spawning in. Exactly. How fucking crazy is that? It's just backwards. Doesn't make any goddamn sense.
That's exactly the point. Like, the comeback in Battlefield 4 right now, like, if there's been some close games where, okay, we're down so many tickets, blah, 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 we're fighting our way through. All of a sudden, the tide turns and we cap 4 out of 5 flags. So we're watching our ticket count, we're watching our, we're getting close to victory already. We were down by 50 points. Okay, now we're only down by 40 points. We own the 4 flags. But your teammates, maybe they're not, that, great at the game. I'm not the fucking world best Battlefield player, I'll tell you that up front. But maybe they don't understand the game mode. Maybe they play Rush all the time. They're trying Conquest out the first time. They just keep fucking dying to spawn in, run to a flag. Well, if we own 4 or 5, that's when you get defensive. You still do it in Battlefield 4. But now, if it comes down to the point where, okay, the flag cap is even, the points are like quite even, and then pretty much everyone on our team gets killed, and all your good players are sitting in the fucking spawn screen hoping that whoever's left alive can do something. So it takes the fucking skilled players out of the fucking game. And this turtling up and a good defense. Like, I don't understand, like, how medic can only revive you once now. You can't be revived multiple times like in Battlefield 3. So you get revived once, that's 1 ticket. It's not like you can be revived 5 or 6 times. It's not like your best player can run out, C4 suicide, kill 4 people, then you run up, revive him, and he just repeats. You can revive 1 person once. So unless you have, 2 fucking squads and everyone's a medic, you're not gonna do anything. That's not how you win the game. Turtling up in a defensive position with your medics. That's fucking stupid. Fuck, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah. And we don't know what happens if, say there's 5 flags and one team gets very close to victory and the other team manages to push up and, say, take 4 flags. We don't know that the ticket system won't adjust, and those underdog could still win. I mean, we don't know that it's going to put you into
as long as it's not an impossible margin. It would be
stupid of them.
Well, right. It's going to depend on margin. Tickets the same as a ticket bleed. It's still, if you're not in an impossible margin, you can't kill that. I mean, like I said, when we were playing Metro, if we had stayed in the basement and we were down 200 tickets, we couldn't have sat downstairs and killed them 200 times more than they killed us, then kill them enough to 200 plus to get the fucking cap points that they were getting from, because they owned 2 flags. So they owned 2 flags and were killing us. And they had the defensive position because all they did was sit there and wait for us to run to them as we push forward. So the same thing's going to happen in Battlefield 1. The same fucking thing. If you want to win, you got to fight your fucking enemy for your flags. If you want to win, you got to stay alive. I don't know how much plainer that can be put. I mean, I know we're kind of making fun of the guy who quoted this, but whether it's his ideas or he took some of this, like some of this does sound like it's from the level cap video. I'm not quoting anything, but I'm saying, like, if this guy believes all this stuff, I'm hoping his mind gets changed when he loads into the beta on the 31st or the 30th or whenever he gets into this game, and he sees that it's not everyone running from A to B to C to D to F and then back and forth in a fucking circle. First fucking time I see my fucking team doing that, I'll find another fucking team to play with.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people.
And I would love
people fucking do it now, so it's like fucking idiots are always going to play this game. You're always going to be screaming fucking blueberries. If you could play a game without cursing at your fucking teammates, then you're playing with all your friends in a fucking massive party, and everyone knows what they're doing.
You're not cursing,
right?
Because you're probably winning.
Exactly. I still curse blueberries when I'm winning.
Oh,
fucking blueberries.
I would, and I know it's a super long shot, but Level Cap, if you hear this, I would very much like to debate the finer points of Conquest ticket systems with you anytime.
Exactly.
Not as like a verbal beatdown. I would really like to sit down and have an intelligent discussion with someone who's passionate about the old system to try and get a deeper understanding of why they dislike what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now so much.
Sure.
I feel like I could learn something from that.
Definitely.
Okay.
But that'll never happen.
No, it won't. I mean,
He's too big for the common man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was going to go the route of intelligent conversation from the angle of these topics. I don't think that's going to happen. But, as always, we welcome discussion. So if you guys have made it through, what are we at, an hour and 10 minutes, give or take? If you've made it this far and you agree with those points and disagree with us, please tell us why. Because we like to think that we're pretty well-rounded, that we're at least somewhat semi-intelligent, and we've definitely all got the experience in Battlefield. So if all three of us are wrong, please tell us why. We would love to have the discussion with you.
Absolutely.
I had no problem with that at all.
Fantastic.
Yep. All right. So on the subject here, we've got the three of us, as you guys know, but we've also got a lot of other friends in the community. So that being said, Panther, we have our very own YouTuber that has something to say about this whole mess. So why don't you tell us who it is and how we can find out what he said?
All right. So first off, I'm going to give a big shout out to our good friend, the Broken Machine. I'm hoping anyone that is listening to this, new or old, does subscribe to Broken Machine. He's been a friend of ours. We played with him since Battlefield 3. I asked him the other day for a quote on his opinions on the new scoring system. And he, I'm not, this is a quote from him. He wrote this all himself. I'm not paraphrasing nothing. The whole quote, I'm going to put it in the description. So if you want to read what the Broken Machine feels about how the scoring system is and his points on it, he has some great counterpoints to a lot of the points that we already went through tonight. But if you want to hear from someone that is a YouTuber, he live streams, Battlefield is basically his main focus on his channel. He may not be as large as the level caps and the X Factors and etc. out there, but this is a guy that does Battlefield on YouTube, and if his opinions are different from the other guys, that means hopefully there's a lot of others out there that feel the same way. So check the description out. I have his whole quote listed in there. Also going to have a link to his YouTube page, so check him out if you're not already checking him out. And there you go.
He's also British. I mean, what's to lose?
Yeah, he's a Brit. He's a Brit.
It's got that sexy accent.
There you go.
Man.
And he rocks a pretty wicked beard. He rocks a wicked beard, so check that out in his live streams.
All right, so we've hit about all the discussion points that we can handle for one night.
Oh, definitely.
As we've said, please, if you guys have any type of rebuttal to what we've said, any counterpoints, something that we didn't think of, or anything that you guys would like to add, please comment on the video and try to educate us Neanderthals. We appreciate it. And we've got the open beta, as we've said multiple times now, right around the corner, just in a couple days. So we'll put as much time into that as we can, and it'll hopefully answer some of the questions that we brought up and that we still have about this game. So thank you guys so much for listening. I know it's been a pretty long podcast, and as always, we welcome the comments and questions. Hope to see you guys in the beta, and we will see you guys next time on the Bottlefield. See ya.
Later.
Holla.